Hello again. It's been a while, I know, but it's really great to be back. And I'm super happy to be back with you today to talk about a few things that we've reviewed in class, a couple of bonus materials on some vocabulary, and of course, we're going to look at some error correction that you have all made during the classes. All right? I know that there is a lot of chaos happening in the world. It is a very tough time, particularly for all of my students and friends in Ukraine. And I just want to send my deepest sympathies to you. I know it's not the easiest time to be studying English, but maybe if I have a little bit of a smile and I maybe talk about a couple of jokes, it might lighten the mood a little bit. So I hope everyone's all right, and let's just get going, all right? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tell a few jokes. That's right. So I like jokes. As you know, not only am I a funny person, but it's also a great way to break down multiple meanings of words, pronunciations, and understanding a little bit more about, American comedy. So without further ado, let's get going. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to talk about a phrasal verb, and we're going to call this the phrasal verb spotlight. We're going to talk about some phrases that are not quite common, but how else are we going to learn them unless we actually learn them? So today we're going to talk about whip up. I don't know if anyone of you have heard this one before, but whip up means to rouse energy, to excite, or to make how would you say that? Is to arouse or to excite something. So this could be a group of people. This could also be something like a meal, or literally to whip up eggs, for example. All right. So the literal meaning, for example, is to make something quickly. It's very common to say, "Oh, okay, so we've got a few carrots, got a few onions. I could probably whip up a quick salad. I could whip up a quick soup. Make it really quickly, whip it up." The other one we're going to talk about is whipping up a sentiment, a feeling, or a group of people. The media is whipping up fears about the new tax policy. Whipping up fears, creating a lot of energy and noise about this particular thing. In this case, the new tax policy. Metaphorical use is to whip up a frenzy. The protests quickly whipped up the crowd into a mob. And we never want a mob, do we? We want a protest. We don't want a mob. So if you whip up the crowd, get them really excited, upset, angry, possibly with some weapons, this could be a very negative thing. But it doesn't have to be negative. It can be something positive as well. Like whipped cream. One of my favorite treats as a child was just going with the can. And then I always broke it somehow. It was always me who broke it. My mom never understood how I broke it. I still don't know how I possibly broke the whipped cream can. Oops, the whipped cream. The whipped cream can. So that is your phrasal verb spotlight. I'd love if you made some sentences, tried to find some way to apply it to your life. This is the fastest way you're going to learn it. All right? So, next we've got a little bit of a vocabulary spotlight. Now, generally, this is interesting, related to etymology, or relevant in terms of meaning or something like that. Now, as we know, carnival, as the Portuguese say carnaval, just happened in Brazil. And as we know in the United States, Mardi Gras took place in New Orleans just a few days ago. Now, Mardi Gras, in case you didn't know, means Fat Tuesday in Latin. And we have Fat Tuesday in the Catholic culture. And this is the day before Ash Wednesday. And that's when you put, the priest puts the ash on your head. Fat Tuesday is the day where you get fat. You eat as much as you can. You eat all the sweets, all the treats before you cut out something, ultimately for Lent. This is very common. Now, I don't practice the Catholic religion, so I don't know exactly how it works, but I do know that on Fat Tuesday, you get fat. And on Ash Wednesday, you begin Lent, which is 40 days of abstaining from something. So you cut something out of your diet: soda, sugar, cake, etc. So that is where Carnival comes from. All right, so now we are going to get into a little bit of jokes. So I've got 3 jokes for you, and I thought that you might enjoy trying to get these jokes in English. Now, of course, we are looking for double meanings of words, double senses, often pronunciations that are very similar as well. So, here's the first joke. Did you hear about the guy whose left side was cut off? Well, he's all right now. What was the one thing the cross-eyed teacher could not control? What was one thing the cross-eyed teacher could not control? His pupils. Now, if you can't get these jokes, you can ask someone, or of course, I can clarify them in class. All right? So the last joke we've got is, waking up in the morning was an eye-opening experience. Waking up in the morning was an eye-opening experience. Not bad, huh? It's a very corny joke, but hey, it's well worth the delivery if you can understand the difference and you can understand what an eye-opening experience means, besides literally opening your eyes. So, those are my 3 jokes for the day. Enjoy those, and I will have 3 more next time. All right, folks, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of correction on some grammar mistakes, pronunciation mistakes, different mistakes that I've seen in our classes. So all of you can get a sense of what other people are messing up on, are making mistakes on. And it's a good reminder for little tiny grammar points. So here is where we're going to start. We're going to start with, he's behaving good. He's not goofing around. Okay, so I think a lot of you can already see that there is a blue line under here. That means that there's something that needs to be corrected or good. And that is correct. It is well, my friends, well. Obviously, good is describing a subject, an object, a noun. The food is good. The game was good. You and I are good. But you do something well. You play well, you eat well, you sleep well, all of the above. All right, so he's behaving well. Again, we have, I live here for 10 years. Now, in some languages, that is correct. But we all know that for 10 years is a duration of time. And with duration of time, we need the present perfect. I have lived here for 10 years. All right? For 10 years or since 2012. All right? Moving on to the next one. During the winter, I like to make skiing. It's not a bad answer. Everyone understands what you mean, but we don't use make for activities like skiing, surfing, golfing, running. What do we use? We use go. Go skiing. All right? Go skiing, go surfing, go running, go skydiving. Most activities we use go and the gerund, or the activity. You got it? Next, it's been 3 years that I didn't travel. This is an interesting one, and there are actually 2 ways that I would accept rephrasing this sentence. Now, it is common to say, it's been 3 years since I traveled. Okay? Now, I like that one better. Now, this one says, since I haven't traveled. You can say it's correct, but nobody really says that way. It sounds a little awkward to me. So I would say, I haven't traveled for 3 years. Again, 3 years, duration, present perfect. All right? Next, it took 3.5 hours in drive. Everyone understands, but we don't say in drive. Now, Google Docs says to drive. And that's acceptable. But you also have by car. And remember, by car, train, plane, bike, by. But on foot. So, by car, in a car, driving is also accepted. It took 3.5 hours driving. All acceptable, all perfectly good. Finally, I missed my bus, so I should take a taxi. Says correct here, right? So all good? Well, okay, so this is a fine sentence, but I've noticed a lot that some of you are confusing should with have to. Should is a suggestion. Okay, so you should eat better. You should cut out beef from your diet. You should support Liverpool Football Club. It is a suggestion, whereas have to is an obligation. It is kind of like must, but it's not exactly must. Have to is something that you have to resort to do, like, oh, it's raining. I can't take my bike. I have to take the bus. You could say should, but I think what you really mean is that you have to. You don't really have a choice. You are left with this only option. I have to take a taxi. All right? And finally, we've got, after finishing my work, I'll call my parents. Oops. And finally, after finishing my work, I'll call with my parents. You can talk with your parents, but you can't call with your parents. You can call your parents. Okay? Talk with or call or even call up. You know we love those phrasal verbs. I called up my parents as well. So that is it for today. We're going to get to the rest of those next time. I see that we're already pushing 15 minutes in this video. So there you go. And I'm going to try to have one of these every week, going over vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation points, especially pronunciation points for the next time. And then we can also practice the mouth positions. Since I have you here, I think it's probably appropriate to take a look at the schwa. You knew it was going to happen. So, remember, if you can imagine, the gravity's pushing you down a little bit. You don't want to have any stress, any tension up here. You're just opening your mouth and you're saying this really low, adept, synthesis, adept. I forgot other words. Harmony. Each and every. I have to go. So my mouth is a little bit smaller. It's a little bit more closed. Your mouth position can be a little bit more open if you want, if it makes it easier. Again, as any muscle, we have to start overcompensating so that we can really make the sound. And then over time, your muscles get stronger, more relaxed, and you'll have more of a mouth position like me. I have to go. We need to go. For 10 years. For 10. For. All right, my friends. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.